My first guest is a man that I guess when I saw him do his Mark Twain evening on television, I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen. And when you do something like that, there's a danger that people will not want you to do anything else but something you do that brilliantly. But Hal Holbrook has proved that he does so many things brilliantly as an actor that it's embarrassing probably for him to be standing backstage hearing this and reading it all the time. He recently was praised to the skies by John Simon, who, as you know, is a pushover, a critic. But anyway, he's currently in a play called Lake of the Woods, and it's always a treat to see him. Will you welcome, please, a fine actor, and probably a fine gentleman, I don't know, Hal Holbrook. Have a seat. I can't help noticing the first thing about you is that your face looks like mine feels. Do you keep a slight growth for the play?
Yeah, I do. I have to. I'm playing a guy who's on vacation, and it's in the evening, so of course he hasn't, had time to shave. So I let about 2 days' growth of beard go by.
How do you keep it?
My little daughter, won't kiss me anymore.
She won't?
I have to wait for Sunday and shave it off, then I get kissed.
Just for a kiss?
Yeah.
Well, how do you keep it that length? It seems like you would use a bad razor on it, or how do you?
Well, I use a kind of a shaky hand with an electric razor and try to take the tops off, you know. So
yeah. What if you accidentally? Can't they put that on with makeup? Or?
Well, they can, but it's complicated, and I perspire so badly in this show that it'll all run off on the sand. I work on the sand in this show. It's just a great, huge stage full of sand.
I think that'd be a little rough.
It is, yeah, it is.
Why does it have to be a stage full of sand?
Well, it takes place on there are 2 plays involved.
Yeah.
I'm not in the first one. There's a play that runs around 40 minutes called Fingernails Blue as Flowers, and then our play is called Lake of the Woods. Runs about an hour and a half. And the first play takes place on a beach in Jamaica, and the second play takes place on a desert.
And what are the problems of working in sand?
Well, you don't think about it. The first time we rehearsed on the sand, first it was much easier to take the falls. I get knocked down or fall down in this play a lot, and I've bruised myself all over, but in the sand, of course, that's easier. But then if you get too close to the edge of the stage, I have to run a lot in this play. The guy kind of has a nightmare and runs. Mm-hmm. You kick sand in the audience's eyes, so you have to be very careful about that. When you fall, you have to be careful not to get your face in it, you know. And then if some other actor is working with you, like I'm lying down in the sand in one place, kind of out of it, and this actor comes running in, and the first time he did it, he stopped and kicked in the sand, you know, when I just turned in time. Also, I use a cigar for 2 acts in this show. And I have gotten the end of the cigar in the sand and then had to put it back in my mouth. But you don't do that again if you can help it.
Have you ever gotten into a really bad thing on the stage like that, where something, one of those actor's nightmare situations where something was just awful?
Yeah, I remember once when I was doing Mark Twain, when I was first starting out playing high schools. I was in a town in Oklahoma, and this was when I was doing a 2-person show. There was my first wife and I doing, it wasn't a solo. Mm-hmm. It was that interview thing, and we started getting tremendous laughter, much more laughter right in the beginning of the sketch than we'd ever had before, and I knew after a while that it had to have something to do with something else besides what we were saying.
Oh boy, what a feeling.
And after a while, I thought, my gosh, did I leave my fly open?
After a while? I bet you thought of that rather quickly.
Well,
actually.
pretty soon when I knew. And then I thought, now what am I going to do if I look down and it is open?
Yes.
Then this whole show is going to stop for 5 minutes.
Do you also think, how would Mark Twain handle this?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I have to think of it. And so finally I did look down, and there it was, wide open.
It was?
It was wide open, and and everybody, the kids just fell right off, and the principal, who had been trying to contain himself through the whole thing, just bent up and fell on the floor.
What do you do then? Do you just say, well, what can I say? I'm leaving town and get off the stage, or do you
I just
start over?
I figured, as you said, what would Mark Twain say? So I finally says, my God, I've left my fly wide open and just get it up again.
I wonder if it ever happened to him. It is a terrible feeling. I have many nights I come out here and I think, I wonder if this is the night. There really ought to be. Some actors insist on a sign backstage, you know, that says.
Oh, I always check. I just check there. I asked your stage manager. I said, just checking my fly. I got a habit stayed with me for 20 years. I go like that before I go on stage.
You asked another guy to check it?
No,
No, I mean, I think so. Boy, I've got to be a big star.
I was just trying to make myself feel good.
Oh, yeah.
Before I came out here.
Yeah. Hey, you know, one night I had insomnia, and I woke up, and when that happens, I read the first thing that's nearby, and it was a Mark Twain book you had done, and it had a lot of story about your life in it, and because I read it in the middle of the night and then went back to sleep, it's sort of dim. You know, I was really only half awake. Were you or were you not lost on a mountain at some point?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
What was that?
Well,
it was such a good story, and it's just gone.
Well, I was doing, it was 1954, and I got my first job in New York, which was on a soap opera, and I worked for 9 months on it. And then I, for the first time in my life, had made a little money, so I decided to take a vacation. I had 10 days off the show. And I was walking down 57th Street, and I thought, what would I like to do more than anything in the world? I was a little depressed and worn out. And I thought I'd like to go skiing. And I never had the money to do what I wanted before, so I said, by George, I'm just going to go skiing. So I found out where I could go in September, and one of the places was Peru, but that was $765 round trip, so that knocked it. So I went to Mount Shasta out in California. And I got out to California, and I knew someone in a nightclub there, and I happened to run into a guy who'd been a ranger out there. And he told me about it, and that I'd have to climb the mountain. I'd never climbed the mountain before, and it's over 14,000 feet high. So I bought all kinds of climbing stuff and everything, and a lot of bouillon cubes I had all over me in case I got lost. And sterno cans I could heat the water with, so I loaded up with the skis and all and went up there. And I was up there 4 days by myself. Everybody said, I said, what will I do? I didn't even know how to make a wood fire, you know. And they said, oh, there'll be people there. You can, you know, they'll help you. And the weather man in the town, Shasta City, drove me up to the 6,000-foot level, a place called Sand Flats, let me out. And I had a 70-pound pack on my back and a pair of skis. And I stood there in this I forget whether they're redwoods or those other kind of big trees, huge trees, all alone, and all I could think of was bear. He looked very reluctant to leave, and I said, no, I'll be all right, go ahead. So finally he says, I'll meet you 4 days later on Thursday afternoon. And the first thing, I looked around and was frightened out of my wits, scared to death.
Yeah.
You want to know the first thing I did?
Yeah.
I went behind a big tree and relieved myself. And then I started climbing. Yeah. I got to the Sierra Club hut, which is about 8,000 feet. And it's a terribly long story, but I mean, I was up there for that length of time, and I finally tried to climb the mountain, and I passed out. The second day I tried to climb it by myself, and I passed out on this glacier after doing the 4 more steps. Now 3 more, 2 more. I passed out.
No, what is that? I don't understand.
Well, you know, like I said, I was so exhausted I couldn't breathe. You know, I'd never been that high before, and you can't. I didn't even know what was the matter. I thought I must be getting sick. I never occurred to me that it was the altitude. That's how dumb I was. And I said, I'll take 10 more steps, right out of Jack London, you know, and then I'll take 5 more, and I got down to I'll take 2 more, and then I woke up and I was laying there. I don't know how long I was out, and then I came down.
That is tremendously dangerous. I mean, they were silly to let you go.
Well, I pretended that I had. No, they wouldn't have. I just had to pretend that I'd done this sort of thing before, and I talked to the ranger, and he says, I said, how do you go up here, up in that heart-shaped area? And he says, yeah, you go up in there, and there's ravines and things. Yeah. And there's a lip there at the end of that glacier, and you get onto that.
You acted like you knew what a lip was.
Yeah, and then there was a ridge at about 12,000. Over that was the top of the mountain, and I never was able to get up over it.
It never occurred to me that because as a kid I was in the mountains, I knew what altitude thinness is like. But if you haven't experienced it, you don't know what's happening to you. It's like
Yeah.
you say you think you're dying for some
know.
strange reason because
It's a terrible
breathing doesn't do you
feeling.
any good. You can't
Yeah.
get any air. You don't feel like you can get any air
Just-
from
it's
breathing. And you have to
exhausting.
get.
You have to get a lot. And you know, climbing a mountain, at least this volcanic kind, it's really like climbing a rock heap.
Yeah.
I mean, you put one foot down and then you start to put another one and you slip back a half a foot and it's just, you know, it's like climbing on sand and it's...
Did you ever have that feeling, if I ever get back, if I ever get out of this?
Oh,
just
I tell
never-
you know, when those fellas landed on the moon, I felt that I could feel a little bit what they must have felt, because my first day up there, I got lost in this, not the fog, but the clouds come in so fast, and they warned me, don't stay up after 3:30 or 4 because you could get lost, and they do. They just come in through these black crags, you know, just like a snake, and bong, and you can't see from here to the TV thing, and I looked down from that height at the, you know, down below, and I could see sun glinting off tin roofs that looked like, you know, 20 miles away, and matter of fact, probably was quite a distance, and it was like being all alone in the middle of the moon.
Yeah,
or
you might as
something.
well be in the moon. You wouldn't be anymore.
Terrifying experience. Yeah.
It scared me when I read it.